Right now, three huge stories are all over your newsfeed. A war heating up overseas, a scandal about your money right here at home, and a fallout between two of the richest, most powerful men in the world. They seem like they have nothing to do with each other, but they do. They're all connected by one single, unsettling truth.
$37 million. Just look at that number. Let it sink in for a second. We'll come back to it.
Meanwhile, you have the White House sending a pretty blunt message to our allies. That's a direct quote. A statement like that, it has massive consequences for the entire global economy.
And then there's this. A friendship that literally helped shape the modern world is shattered. Three headlines, three different worlds. But as you're about to see, they share one deeply disturbing common thread. Okay, first up, let's talk about the escalating war in Iran. Now, this isn't just some foreign policy debate you see on cable news. No, this is hitting Americans right where it hurts, in the wallet. And the story we're being told, well, it seems to be changing by the day.
So President Trump has come out with this really bold claim. He says the U.S. will be, quote, leaving very soon. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3. He's even suggesting a formal deal isn't really necessary to just end the whole thing.
But while they're debating that timeline in Washington, here's the reality for the rest of us. The war has totally disrupted energy supplies, and the average price for a gallon of gas, it's already shot past $4. That's not a political issue, that's a direct hit on your family's budget.
And this is where a credibility gap is starting to form. On one side, you have the official line. On the other, you have experts like Trita Parsi, who points out that this was initially sold as maybe a 4-day conflict. Now, he says the timeline just keeps getting longer, and his take is that the U.S. isn't in control anymore. He calls it a debacle.
All right, now let's pivot. From a war thousands of miles away to waste happening right under our noses. Remember that number from the beginning? $37 million? That's taxpayer money, your money, and state auditors have some really serious questions about where it actually went.
So it's really crucial to understand what questionable payments actually means. According to the Washington State Auditor's Report, this is money that was spent without the proper paperwork to prove it was spent correctly. Now, that doesn't automatically mean fraud, but it is a massive red flag that nobody was watching the store. And the reasons these payments got flagged, they're just shockingly basic. We're talking about childcare providers overbilling for their services, not even having attendance records, or missing something as simple as a signature from a parent. These are fundamental accounting 101 failures.
And here is the absolute kicker. This is not a new problem. For nearly 2 decades, 20 years, auditors have been flagging these exact same issues. They've been screaming that the state agency simply doesn't have the controls to make sure the money is being spent the right way. It is a chronic, systemic failure of oversight.
Our third story takes us out of government and into the gilded world of mega philanthropy. And here, a scandal has caused a seismic rift, a complete fallout between two of the most powerful figures on the entire planet, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. In a brand new, really candid interview, Warren Buffett was reflecting on the Jeffrey Epstein scandal and all of its fallout. And he used those exact words to describe his shock at how Epstein was able to find and just prey upon the weaknesses of so many incredibly powerful people. And this timeline just shows you how deep the fracture goes. I mean, Buffett had concerns about Epstein way back in 2003. But in the wake of all the recent revelations and the Gates divorce, he has totally and completely distanced himself. He resigned from the board of the Gates Foundation, and he's now putting his next massive donation on hold, basically waiting to see what else comes to light. So let's just recap. We have a war with a timeline that doesn't add up, a government program with spending that can't be accounted for, and a legendary philanthropic foundation with the questionable toxic association. 3 separate events. But what if they're not separate at all? What if they're all just symptoms of the same disease?
So what is the link? What on earth connects a conflict in the Middle East, a state audit in Washington, and a broken friendship between two of the world's wealthiest men? Well, the first thread is an absolute breakdown of trust in global leadership. When the public is told a war is going to last a few weeks, but then they see it dragging on with no end in sight, that confidence just erodes. The second is a breakdown of trust in how our own government spends our money.
When auditors reveal that for 20 years, a state couldn't properly track tens of millions of dollars that were supposed to go to childcare, it just feeds that cynicism that the system is broken and that no one is accountable.
And the third thread is a breakdown of trust in our most powerful private institutions. When the world's most famous, most respected philanthropist, Warren Buffett, publicly steps back from the world's biggest foundation because of integrity concerns, well, that raises some pretty deep questions for all of us.
And this is why all of this matters. Buffett himself explains the consequences perfectly. He predicts that as public anger grows over scandals like the Epstein case, Congress will be forced to do something. They'll have to act, maybe even change the rules for the very foundations that shape so much of our world. You see, trust isn't just a feeling, it's the currency of power, and when it's gone, things change.
Which brings us to a really critical question for you. Out of these three massive breakdowns in trust, in our global leadership, in our own government spending, or in our most powerful private institutions, which one of them worries you the most about the future of this country? Let us know why in the comments below.